Hello, my friend. I want to begin today's video with a simple, honest question. Have you ever felt your legs getting weaker? And you just don't know why? There's no fall, no injury, no clear diagnosis. And yet, every time you try to stand up from a chair, you find yourself pushing with both hands. Just a few steps up the stairs, and you're already short of breath, legs trembling as if they're refusing to cooperate. Sometimes you're simply walking across the living room, and suddenly you lose your balance for just a moment. I've heard stories like this from so many of my patients, especially those over 60. And what breaks my heart is most of them believe it's just a part of getting old. They accept it quietly, like it's something inevitable, something they just have to live with. But I want you to know, genuinely from the heart, this is not normal. This isn't some price you have to pay just because you've turned 60, 65, or 70. Because there are things happening inside your body silently, gradually, that you can do something about, but only if you know what they are. Let me ask you to imagine this a beautiful, sturdy house. No storms, no damage, but each day, one brick from its foundation is quietly pulled out. You don't see anything at first, until one day it collapses. No warning, just gone. That's exactly how these three silent conditions weaken your legs. Little by little. Quietly. Month after month, without a sound, without a sign. One of my patients, Linda, 68 years old, used to be a physical education teacher. Strong, independent. She loved her morning walks, never missed a day. And then one day she sat in my office and said, "Doctor, I don't understand. I still eat the same. I still walk every morning. But lately, my legs don't feel like mine anymore. They're shaky. They react slower. They hurt when I stand too long. And the worst part is, I'm starting to feel afraid of falling." Linda's story isn't rare. And what pains me the most is, if she had known sooner, if someone had warned her about the quiet threats sneaking up on her body, she might have been able to hold on to her strength just a little longer. That's why today I want to share with you three often overlooked conditions that are the real reason behind leg weakness in older adults. It's not because you're lazy. It's not because your diet is bad. It's because no one ever told you that there are enemies inside your body that don't cause pain, but they do cause weakness. And if you're watching this right now, I believe you deserve to know the truth. Not to scare you, but to help you protect yourself. Because when it comes to your legs, your independence knowledge is strength. I want you to think back to the last time you tried to stand up from a low chair. Did you have to press your hands onto your thighs just to lift yourself? Did you feel like your thighs, once the strongest part of your legs, just didn't have the power anymore? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. One of my patients, Mr. Walter, 73, was once a very strong man, a former Marine, solid muscle, confident stride. But a few years ago, he came into my office looking down and said quietly, "Doc, I don't understand. Every time I try to get up from the sofa, it feels like my legs just can't do it anymore." I asked him to try a simple test, stand up from a chair without using his hands. He shook his head and sighed. "Can't do it anymore." Things have changed, and the answer was clear sarcopenia, what we call age-related muscle loss. It's something most people over 60 experience, yet hardly anyone knows the name. Starting around age 50, your body begins to lose 3 to 8% of muscle mass every decade, even if you eat well and stay active. No injury, no illness, just a slow, silent process happening beneath the surface. And the real problem isn't just about losing muscle. It's about losing strength reaction time and stability. You might still walk every day. You might still eat a decent diet. But if your muscles aren't being challenged the right way, they shrink like old rubber bands losing their stretch. I once told a patient, muscle isn't just for looking strong, it's what keeps you from falling. Sarcopenia takes away your confidence. It makes you start avoiding things you used to love, like afternoon walks, gardening, or climbing the stairs. And little by little, you get weaker. Not because you're lazy, not because you're old, but because your strength is being stolen bit by bit. People often ask me, "Doctor, what can I do? Is it too late to recover?" And here's the good news. No, it's not too late. You don't need to go to the gym. You don't need to lift heavy weights. You just need to begin with simple, steady steps. Light resistance exercises with a stretch band, a protein-rich breakfast to fuel your muscles, a bit of sunshine each day to boost your vitamin D3. And most importantly, don't ignore the early signs. When you feel your legs getting weaker, don't just say, "I'm getting old." Get it checked out. Because sarcopenia doesn't shout, it doesn't hurt, it just quietly takes away the one thing you need most, your ability to rise. And if you're hearing this right now, and something inside you says, "Yeah, I've been feeling a little weaker lately," then take it as a gentle warning from your own body. And don't worry, because in the next part, I'll tell you about a second silent condition. This time, not in your muscles, but in your nerves. Now I want you to imagine this. You're walking across the floor of your home, your familiar everyday path. But suddenly, your feet don't feel quite right anymore. They feel numb, like there's a layer of cotton between you and the ground. Sometimes there's a burning sensation like pins and needles. Other times, your legs just feel weak, like they're no longer yours to control. One of my patients, Gloria, 70 years old, once said this to me during a follow-up visit. "Doctor, I haven't fallen, but I'm scared to walk. It feels like my legs aren't listening to me anymore." And I knew right away this was peripheral neuropathy. And I wish Gloria and millions of others had known about it sooner. So what exactly is peripheral neuropathy? Put simply, it's when the nerves in your legs and feet become damaged. The nerves that help you feel the ground, move your toes, keep your balance. They start to misfire. And when that happens, the signals from your brain don't travel smoothly to your feet anymore. You still have muscle. But suddenly, your control's gone. You lose coordination. You lose trust in your own legs. Now this condition doesn't hurt like arthritis. It doesn't scream like a fall. It just quietly steals your sense of safety, one step at a time. And the causes, there are many. But in my years of practice, the three most common culprits I've seen are: 1. Diabetes, especially when blood sugar is not well managed. High glucose levels damage the protective coating around your nerve. 2. Vitamin B12 deficiency. B12 is essential for nerve health. Many older adults absorb it poorly and never realize they're deficient. 3. Alcohol smoking or chemical exposure, all of which slowly poison the nervous system over time. What's frustrating about peripheral neuropathy is that it's often diagnosed too late. People brush it off. They think, "Maybe I slept wrong, or it's just old age." So they ignore it until the numbness becomes permanent. Or worse, until they fall and don't even know why. I once treated a patient who fractured her hip simply because she didn't feel the floor was slippery. That's why I'm telling you this today. If you ever feel tingling, burning, or numbness in your feet, struggle to feel the ground clearly when walking, trip often, even without obstacles, notice your foot reflexes or reactions slowing down, please go see your doctor. Ask for a neuropathy screening, and especially get your B12 levels checked. You might be low and not know it, especially if you're on antacids, metformin, or eating a limited diet. Now here's the good news. If caught early, peripheral neuropathy can improve. With the right care, better blood sugar control, B12 or B-complex supplementation, gentle exercises that support nerve signaling. It is possible to feel your feet again, to trust your legs again, to walk without fear again. I often tell my patients, you don't have to live in fear of falling, But you do need to understand what your body is trying to tell you. Because sometimes that strange feeling like your legs are no longer yours is your body's way of calling for help. And if you're feeling that now, please don't ignore it. Now I want you to picture a river. When the water flows smoothly, everything around it thrives. But when the flow is blocked, the trees wither, the soil cracks, and life slowly fades. Our bodies are the same, especially our legs. They're the furthest from the heart. And if that flow, our circulation, is interrupted, your legs can become weak, cold, even bluish, even if you're eating well and staying active. I remember one of my patients, Mr. Harold, 76, an avid gardener. He came to see me and said, "Doc, I don't get it." I walk for just a few minutes and suddenly my calves cramp up tight like they're being squeezed. But if I rest a little, the pain goes away. As soon as I heard that, I knew he was dealing with peripheral artery disease, a common but often overlooked cause of poor circulation in older adults. Sadly, in Harold's case, it had gone on for far too long. Poor circulation happens when the arteries in your legs narrow or stiffen, often due to a buildup of cholesterol, fat, and calcium, what we call atherosclerosis. In the beginning, you feel nothing, but little by little signs begin to show. Your feet or legs feel cold even in warm weather. The skin becomes pale and dry. Toenails grow slowly. You feel burning or cramping pain in your calves when walking, but it stops when you rest. And worst of all, small cuts or scrapes on your feet take a long time to heal. I once treated an elderly woman who developed gangrene in her toe simply because no one realized her leg wasn't getting enough blood. By the time we found out, it was too late. And I'll be honest, it still weighs on me. Because if she had known the early signs, if someone had taught her what to look for, it could have been prevented. Have you ever felt your calves cramp up while walking and just blamed it on being out of shape? Or maybe your feet feel colder than usual and you throw on an extra pair of socks without asking why. Here's the truth. When blood doesn't reach your legs, nutrients can't get there. Oxygen doesn't reach the muscles, and strength slowly fades away. You might be eating well, you might be sleeping fine, but if the blood can't reach where it's needed, your legs simply can't recover. So what can you do? Here's the good news. You can improve your circulation with small, consistent changes. Go for short, gentle walks every day, even just 10-15 minutes. Eat less processed food, less salt, and fewer saturated fats. Stay hydrated and avoid sitting in one position for too long. Check your blood pressure, cholesterol, and blood sugar regularly. I often tell my patients there's no shortcut to restoring circulation, but you don't need a miracle either. You just need to begin. And now, you've learned about the 3 silent conditions that don't cause pain, but slowly steal strength, stability, and confidence from your legs. Sarcopenia takes away your strength, peripheral neuropathy takes away your control, poor circulation drains the life from your legs. In the next part of the video, I'll sit down with you again to walk you through how to rebuild your leg strength step by step. From nutrients to habits to movement, simple actions that anyone over 60 can do. But before we go there, I want to ask you something. Which of these 3 felt most familiar to you? Drop a comment below and let me know. Or tell me which one should I dive deeper into next. My dear friend, we've just walked through 3 silent conditions together. They don't hurt like arthritis. They don't shout like a fall. They simply steal your strength, your confidence, and your balance a little more each day without making a sound. I've seen this in Linda, once strong and fearless, now hesitant to step off a curb. In Walter, the former Marine who can no longer rise from a chair without help. In Gloria, who once walked every morning and now feels like her legs no longer belong to her. And in Harold, whose calves cry out after just a few steps because blood isn't reaching where it's needed. And maybe you see a little of yourself in one of those stories too. I know it's not easy to accept that your body is changing, but that's exactly why we need to understand what's happening inside us. Because only when we understand can we take control. And only when we take control can we stop feeling helpless when our bodies try to speak. There's something I often tell my patients. We can't go back in time, but we can change direction. Starting today, being 60, 65, 70, it's not the end. It's a new chapter, a chapter where we move slower but with deeper awareness. We don't need to run fast, we just need to stand strong. We don't need to feel young again, we just need to recover what matters. And I believe this with all my heart. Your legs, even if they've grown weak, can still regain strength. If you nourish them the right way. If you listen to what your body's been trying to tell you. In the next video, I'll share with you how to rebuild leg strength after 60 step by step. From nutrition, to daily habits, to the right timing for key vitamins. Everything simple, practical, and made for a body that's lived through many seasons. If this video has helped you even just a little, please leave a comment and share your experience. I read every single one. Click like, so I know you're out there and that I'm not alone on this journey. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another real conversation from one heart to another. Because I didn't start this channel just to teach, I started it to walk alongside you. Thank you for staying with me to the very end. And I'll see you in the next video where we'll rebuild not just your legs, but the strength to carry you through the next chapter of life.